位观众朋友，大家晚上好，欢迎收看今天的 On the Hot Seat， 我是你的主持人陈丽珍。今天呢，来到我们现场的嘉宾是 Dato Zaid Ibrahim， 先来看一段他精彩的简历。
一个在吉兰丹乡市出生的普通小孩，靠着努力拼搏成为律师，曾经拥有全国最大的律师事务所。他也曾经获选为国会议员，担任过内阁部长。不过他担任部长只有半年的时间，就因为不满紧急法令课题，愤而辞职，之后还被巫统开除党籍。他高调加入了公正党，不到2年就退党，后来创立惠民党，也以退党收场。2013年起淡出了政坛。今年的2月7号，再以重回政坛，加入火箭。当天敦马还告诫他，希望他可以在火箭待久一点。先后加入4个政党的他，有人认为他是政治青蛙，也有人觉得他是在寻找正确的政治理念。除了他玩味的政治经历，他在很多议题上的立场、言论，甚至是行动，都让人对他另眼相看。例如他近日大力反对的355修正案。其实早在2003年，他就曾经入禀法庭，挑战吉兰丹、登嘉楼2个州属，要落实扩张伊斯兰法庭的全县法律的合法性。到底在伊布拉欣是谁？他又代表着什么？
各位观众朋友，欢迎回到我们的现场。在我还没有开始今天的访谈之前呢，我要先提醒大家，今天还是欢迎大家一起跟我们参与讨论。只要你在讨论区上贴上你的提问呢，我们的制作人觉得问题适合的话，就会丢进来我们的这个 studio， 让我们的这个嘉宾来为您解答。So let's start. Welcome, Dato. Thank you for joining us tonight at Pocket Times. Well, I have to start this with a very brush question, perhaps. I think this is a lot of questions that many non-Malay have. Are the Malays actually concerned about corruption or the 1MDB scandal, the lack of check and balance within our system, and even the rising living costs that many of us are frustrated over?
Of course.
But
the Malays are concerned just like everybody else.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a while for them to get there because
how long will it
propaganda,
take? Yes.
Because of control, because we live in a society, in a country where it's all controlled by UMNO. So when you are imprisoned for so long, it takes a while to get out. But I think the time has come.
It is interesting that you use the term in prison, because many times, whether in your writing or whether in your speeches, you have called for Malays to be more courageous, to have a free mindset, and to be the master of their own. What problem do you see within the Malay? Why did you not ask the Chinese actually to have a free mind of their own, to be the master of their own?
I think the success of the Chinese people are quite clear. You know, they are successful in what they do. They are very focused, and they deal with issues, I think, very well. Although a minority, you know. The shameful thing is that the Malays who are in the majority, who are in control of government, control of everything, somehow are not able to free themselves. You know, because of this control. The control is not just political, it's religious as well.
Yeah.
So actually we are not as privileged people. We are very disadvantaged people. And I see it. And that's why all these years I've been involved in politics. The most fascinating subject for me are the Malays, because I feel sorry for them in a way. I feel sorry because they've been left behind, not because of others, but because of themselves.
This is a very interesting perception, because what we are seeing from the outside, we think that the Malay are at a more advantaged position compared to other minorities.
UMNO Malays may be advantageous, also the senior UMNO Malays, but the general majority of the Malays are not at all advantageous. On paper, you can say, oh, Malays got 30% of this, 30% of that, but only a few Malays get that 30%.
Who would you define as a typical Malay today?
I am a typical Malay.
You are a typical Malay?
Yeah. I am very Malay, actually, in my thinking. This is what Malay should... you see, I think P. Ramlee is probably a typical Malay.
But, I mean, a typical Malay today, because P. Ramlee is no longer around.
Yeah, but that's what a Malay... Because The others are not Malays. The others are, they may be typical Arab, typical Pakistani, typical Taliban, typical Javanese, I don't know. But a typical Malay is Piramli. And the values that he talk about, the things he talk about, his creativity, his independence.
But do you have someone that we could, or maybe my generation could relate to, and not P. Ramlee?
Of course, but they may not be well known.
Not yet.
Not yet, but they are. They are Malays struggling to maintain their independence and restore their values, their culture. But they are not. They are submerged. They are submerged by this power. Political and religious power that control the Malays.
It's interesting that you say you are a typical Malay because you actually have a book which is titled I Too Am Malay.
Yeah.
Because I was very intrigued with how how the book is titled, because does that mean that you are not mainstream?
No,
a Malay who
I'm
have
not
your kind of
mainstream.
mindset.
I'm not mainstream in the sense that, you see, unfortunately for the Malays,
Yes.
they are defined by their leaders. They are defined by UMNO leaders. They are defined by their ulama, by the so-called ulama. They don't define themselves.
Well,
And this is where I think, so my book is basically telling them, because they always accuse me of being too liberal, not Malay enough, not this enough. So actually it's the opposite. It's the opposite. I am Malay. Because I'm very open-minded. I think I believe in good work ethic. I believe in good system. I believe in good governance. I believe in good values. And that's a typical Malay. The Malay that dominates, the Malay that tells people, oh, I'm superior, oh, this is my country. That's insecure Malays. Malays are not like that. We have always been very nice people. That's why this country have been over the years, been always peaceful, accommodating. Okay, we may have to make adjustments here and there, it's never smooth in sailing in trying to develop, to make Malaysia a great country. But we can, because we have great people here. It's just that we don't have the leader who wants to do it, because they want to control you. So, to me, Malaysia is a work in progress.
Yes.
A lot of work in progress, but it's a great country, beautiful country. It's worth fighting for. And I have done that in my part, I think.
Yeah.
I've made great sacrifice in my political beliefs in sending out this message. Although people call me names, they call me everything, it doesn't matter. Because this is a great country.
Because just now you've raised one thing, I think it's like maybe it's the quality of a Malay, they follow their leaders. So today the leaders is UMNO, someday it might be PKR, maybe one day. Would they still be in the same way, the way they
No.
carry themselves?
No. You see, this feudal control
Yes.
mechanism system exists in various degrees. Like it exists in America. You see, Donald Trump wants to do the same. You see, but seriously, I think Malays must be given this confidence, self-assurance that they can decide things for themselves. They can be on their own. They can be. This is how they can progress. Because we have tried all methods.
Yes.
We have tried. Let's look at the so-called Islam. We have control. We have everything. You must refer to somebody whether you can do this or you cannot do that. But where are we today as a Muslim community? We have HIV/AIDS. We have unwanted pregnancies. We have so much social problem. That cannot be Islam, because Islam is not about that. So we have tried the wrong approach on Islam. So it's about time we change that. And I can talk about other things of control. So the problem with the Malays is there's too much control.
Why are they so insecure?
Then historically, let's put it this way. Historically, we are living in a feudal system. Where in the world do you have 9 rulers or 10? So sometimes it's a history. And then the feudal system sets in, and then of course the sudden, we didn't really have time to, as a community, I think. And then when we have pre-Merdeka,
Yes.
you have the immigration of the Chinese, the Indians, and the British in big numbers in a short space of time. it created a lot of uncertainties and insecurities. So the politics of this country will change, were determined in a way sometimes by history. But we cannot always blame history. So that is why, as an independent country, we have to restore back the loyalty to this country from everybody. And we should be together, Chinese, Malaysian, Indians, Kadaza, whatever, because it's our country.
Yes.
But we have always been dividing them so that we can keep power. This is UMNO style or Najib style. You know.
So do you think that this is just the UMNO style? It's not going to be replicated?
No, I think it may be. There may be some elements in any party. I cannot guarantee you.
Yes, yes.
But things will be different. I mean, we must believe that it is possible to change. Change sometimes is incremental. Sometimes it takes step by step. But the opposition will definitely be a better government than the present one. Definitely.
Well, back to the topic of insecurity of the Malays. You know, from a very less privileged boy from Kampong Chap in Bachak, Kelantan, many of our audience might not know where it is. You have come so far, actually, being a minister, a former minister, and you know you had your law firm. It's quite a successful practice. Actually, have you ever thought that you will come so far?
I don't think I've gone so far. I should be prime minister. I have failed in my political career in a way.
You have bigger ambitions, actually.
No, I have ambition to see this country better. You know, I think we're going on the wrong direction. We are not even moving in the right direction. You know, we have all sorts of problems in the country, and we are not providing the solution in the country. So I believe that, like I said, I came from a very poor family.
Yes.
I came from a poor family. And the good thing about being poor is that you don't worry too much because there's nothing to lose. And I mean, people always try to smear me by saying, oh, this guy makes money from UMNO. I didn't make any money from UMNO. I mean, if I had, they would have divulged all the contracts I've got, all the concessions I've got. I don't even have anything. I've always maintained myself clean because I wanted I knew it was going to be a long struggle. So that's the sacrifice I made. I've lost my firm because if I continue, I cannot be in opposition. I sacrificed my ministerial position. How much sacrifice do you think anybody has ever done for this country, in UMNO at least? None. So I feel that somebody has to do it, but my sacrifice is nothing compared to sacrifice of ordinary people, you know, who wants to change, who fights for change, who end up in jail. So you see, I think if you want this country better, you have to make some sacrifice. And to me, it's just, okay, I cannot wear designer shirt or label, or I don't have expensive watches, I don't go on holidays like before, but that's okay.
Would you think like a Malay boy from Kampong Chap today can be where you are in 20, 40 years time?
Any Malay can from anywhere. And there have been successful Malays. They may not be well known, but Malays are very capable people. Malays are very moderate people. Malays have very good value system in them. I believe, I'm very proud of being a Malay, you know, and I feel that we can live together with all the other races. But because they are always under control, it takes a time for them to get out of it. And if I can do my bit to liberate them, I call it a liberation battle. They can call me whatever they want, you know. And I think the Malays must learn to think for themselves and look at the issues, you know, and understand the issues, be part of the world. You can't be different from everybody else. Your values cannot be so different just because you call it Islamic or you call it... You can't. We are human.
Since you agree that Malay can't be different from anyone else, right, do you think that we should continue to have affirmative action for
No, affirmative action is, I think, is a separate issue.
Is it a separate issue?
It is. Affirmative action is helping a community that is... I don't think it should apply only to Malays. I think anybody. Orang Asli, I think, deserve affirmative action more than anybody else.
Yes.
We are not giving that. And there may be Indian communities displaced from their estates. I think they deserve extra help. Affirmative action means extra help. That's all. But it must be transparent. And it must be something we discuss. It cannot be, oh, don't talk about it, it's seditious. That is not affirmative action. That's bullying. Affirmative action, any responsible government must provide a safety net for the community. Okay, the Malays, if they deserve it, we give them. If they don't, we can give to others, or we can do it together. But we must be based on facts.
And merits?
Huh?
And merits?
The merits, yes. It must be based on merit. In fact, it doesn't say that just because... You see, the problem with privileges is this. If you do not have a system or a process, this is what you get today. An officer of the minister wears a designer shirt and designer watches. That's what happens. Because he's Malay. So he uses his position, his right, to get more. And we should stop this nonsense. The country cannot continue with abuse just because of you belong to a particular race. We have to stop that.
No, because like the non-Malay communities, when we look at the Malay, we always see how like UMNO raised the ideology of Malay supremacy, and if need be, they raise their craze. Is this what
No, this is the...
a general or like a general Malay subscribe to?
No, this is, I'm not... No. Don't worry about it. You know, these people will be defeated in election. You don't worry.
You are very hopeful about defeating them in election.
I'm hopeful about the country, and therefore, I don't entertain negative ideas about elections. About, you know, to me, a struggle is never easy. I know. I'm not saying it's easy. It's tough. And you have to continue the struggle. The younger generation have to continue. Everybody has to do their bit. But we're sure we'll win because we cannot sustain this model. We cannot.
Since we are touching on election and politics, and what you are brought into limelight recently because you're joining DAP. So how did the idea of joining DAP come about? No,
actually, you know, a lot of times I really wanted to say no more election for me, you know, no more.
Yeah, because in 2013 you quit.
Yeah, 4 years ago I said I've got enough because it's very tough for me, you know, financially and everything else, you know. But the issues kept coming to the country, you know, something happens. And I continue writing. And then after a while you say, oh, you cannot just write and write and write, you've got to do. Then I started going to ceramah again, you know, people invite me to talk. And then after one MDB came in and Tun Mahathir, who's 92 years old, decided to join back the fray. I said, wow, if he can do it, I think we should all do our bit, you know. So I think there is a bit of momentum now with him.
So you're inspired by Tun Mahathir?
I think it's not inspired. I mean, I've always wanted to do all these things. It's just that I think he makes me realize that it may be tiring. I may be a bit old with a swollen knee, but if he can do it, why not? Yeah.
Okay. You have made it clear that one of your objectives of joining DAP is to eliminate the fears of Malay have for DAP. Why are the Malays afraid of DAP?
I think because UMNO has been quite successful over the years in portraying our DAP as a chauvinist party, Chinese chauvinist party. So a lot of Malays see that.
Okay.
But this is just an example to me of domination of one's mind, you know. So the religious teacher will tell the Malays, you don't question this religious rule because then you'll be out of your, what they call it, you know, you may be stray away from the right path, you may be a deviant. And now they tell you that if you go and join DAP, you're also maybe, you know, in danger. So there are a lot of things they tell the Malays. DAP is dangerous, this dangerous, that dangerous. So I just thought that since DAP is a political party, it's just like any other political party, just because they have more Chinese. But the MC also have more Chinese.
Do you think the fear is justified?
The fear is not justified at all. Not now, I don't know before, because I don't know DAP long enough.
Yes.
But I think now it's just like any other Malaysian party. It has its strong points, it has its weak points, you know. And I think DAP has been consistent. What I like most about the party is that, you know, they are very outspoken about things, about corruption, about abuse of power, accountability. I think that's good. That's good.
This is very interesting because you said they're very outspoken. But yeah, we'll talk about it later. It's just that
you can ask me now. Don't have to postpone your question.
Got to postpone it. I mean,
yeah, okay.
Okay, never mind. But the point is, how confident are you that you could convince this Malay people that they could break the taboo and accept DAP?
No, I can't guarantee anything. You know, in life, you do what you can. I believe in that. You know, when people ask me, you know, why you want to do this or why you want to do that, it's because I think it has some usefulness. You know, I think my presence in DAP enables me to have a platform, so that when the Malays ask me, and I can say to them, yeah, I'm still alive. You know, DAP hasn't taken anything from me yet. So I can speak from experience. So I think that adds value.
Well, it's interesting that you say you cannot guarantee anything because, you know that in your recent blog post, There's Some Good in Me, you claim to be much more experienced in opposition politics and much more open.
I think I understand a lot better.
In the workings of it.
Yes.
So, but you know, just a day after you announced you joining DAP, then you said that Tun Mahathir is the de facto opposition leader, and there were a lot of other leaders coming out to refute this.
Yeah, because this is all about not understanding the context of which the question was posed to me.
Oh.
You see, I was interviewed by, I think, Malay Mail Online or something like that. They asked me, in the context of the opposition, it's like there's no leadership and nobody stands. So I said, you know, we have leaders. So I gave Mahathir as an example. Now he is like, although there's not formal appointment, you see, whenever we have a function, he always speaks last. We always give him that honor that a leader would have. So I said he's effectively our leader. So I was just saying that, not trying to tell that Anwar is not a leader or Wazir is not a leader. I wasn't thinking of them at all. I was just saying that Mahathir is a leader, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know why people get so upset about that.
But you're not saying that he is the leader for opposition.
Well, no. The leader of the opposition is one of the leaders. I mean, you know, that's what I meant, because in the context of the question. Nobody has appointed him leader. But whenever he always sits in the main seat, so I assume that he's the leader. So even if, you know, they always put him in front there. They always put in a position that a leader would sit. So I judge that. To me, that is a leadership. And I think he has provided leadership. So I see nothing wrong by saying, you know. But opposition politics like that, you know, everybody is sometimes sensitive, you know. But I understand. But it's no big deal. You know, people can rebuke me, people can criticize me, no problem. I'm used to it.
It is interesting because you said you don't know DAP well, and now you're joining them. You have previously joined a few other parties. So they might
I have not joined. This is
another fallacy.
This is a fallacy like I'm rich or wealthy. This is a fallacy created by people who have nothing to hit me with. You see, UMNO sacked me, you know. You cannot blame me because they sacked me for my views on ISA. So I did not leave UMNO. You know, I was sacked. Okay, I only left one party, which is PKR.
Yeah.
PKR. Now I'm in DAP. In between, there's Kita. I wanted to set it up in case nobody wants me, and I have my own party. You know, and I still have Kita. So if I cannot stand under any of the more established, I'll stand under Kita, for example. But that's just a contingency. So I only left one party, PKR, to DAP. And there are a lot of people in this country who left once, not more than twice. In politics, you know, it's not so straightforward. Sometimes you come in different circumstances at different times. It's no big deal. But people trying to discredit me because they have nothing else to discredit me. So they're trying to make me look like, oh, he's not serious, he's a joker. You know, Nazri says he's a comedian. This is how they describe me, you know. They just name calling me because I'm solid and everything else. So they can't pin me down. I'm not corrupt. In all my years in UMNO, there's nothing they can show that I've abused my position. You know, they can't. So this is but as I said, I can live with this because it hurts in the beginning, but after a while, I get used to people calling me names. But yeah, I only left one party voluntarily.
PKR.
Yeah, but I still have good relations with them. You know, I'm not like Tunku Aziz. You see, I don't attack Anwar. No.
So you think that you can still work with PKR under
I
this
can
big
work,
umbrella?
I am still working with them. I'm very close with them still. You know, I attend Sharma together with them, even before I joined the AP. So I have no hard feelings. No, to me it's just that I disagree about certain things at that time. I said, no. So it's a small matter to me, but people try to make it big by saying I left this. Somebody said I changed parties like a woman changed panties, you know. But it's not true. I only changed once.
So I mean, you claim now you only changed once, but still, with all the name callings, all those people trying to discredit you, some people, like, you know, they might not know what you represent.
Yeah, of course. And I'm not saying I welcome those things, but in this internet world, in this day and age where everybody has an opinion, you have to live with this. Politicians must learn that there will be people who spread fake news. They don't make a big thing about it. Najib is trying to say everything is fake news except whatever he says. Donald Trump's trying to do the same, but that's wrong. You know, there are fake news. There are people who smear you on the... But as a leader, you should rise above that. You should stick to what's right and what's solid, what's factual. You know? So I'm not saying it's a small matter, but it's something that you must deal with. And there's nothing to get excited about it.
Well, you know, you have written on and giving advice to people on, you know, there must be some essential skills to be involved in politics. Otherwise, you go and do your, you know, put your effort in NGOs and do other things. Do you think after all these years in politics, you have acquired that essential skill to be a politician?
No, I've acquired certain skills, but there are certain skills I don't need to acquire. I don't want to acquire.
For instance?
No, I don't want to be a ruthless person. I don't think, which you may need in politics. There are all kinds of skills you require, but there are certain skills I don't need it. You know, I've always maintained that there are things in this world that you want, but the end doesn't justify everything. You know, so I'm quite happy being taking certain skills that I think is useful for me as a person. I must be happy with myself. With my decision making, you know. So the people may say, "Oh, you need skill A or skill B to go further," but I don't need to go further. You know, I go at my own pace and what I believe in, because I think that's where you are. Because the moment you depart from yourself, then what are you there for? You know. So I think I'm not a specialist in politics. I don't claim to know what is the right way, but I understand there are things people do. You know, but I don't have to follow all of those.
But you have to agree that you can't change or save Malaysia single-handedly, right?
No, I'm not trying to change Malaysia. I'm trying to change the way people think about issues.
Okay.
If I can influence them, because it's the people who can change this country, not the leader, not a single politician. But so long as the people just follow blindly, for so long as the people are not interested, so long as the people think, give up lah, we'll never progress. But so I think my role as someone in the public sphere, you know, is to help the discourse, the discussion, the issues, and hopefully we can get to a point where you cannot have a successful democracy where citizens are not involved or involved in the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's just that you either have a dictatorship, people who control you, what to wear, what to eat, or you have a democracy, a more open society. But in a more open society, there's no choice. You have to sacrifice. The citizen must be active, and you must be able to do certain things together. So if I can contribute towards that, you know, that's my success level. I mean, I measure success in a slightly, probably conventional way.
So you're back in politics and you're thinking about influencing how people think. So would you actually run for election?
Oh yes, I think I am quite sure that I'll be given a seat. You know,
under DAP?
Yes.
You're quite sure.
Yeah.
Is this one of the reasons that why you joined DAP?
Yes, I say that if there's no election, maybe I wouldn't join. For example.
It's just mainly because of the timing.
No, not mainly, but it is one of the reasons. I joined the APP because I need a bigger platform for my views on democracy, on other issues. So I think they're suitable for me. But it is a factor that there's an election coming. So, yeah.
Ah, okay. That's very interesting. Okay. So you will run for the general election. So because then well, maybe some of your voters will think this guy, he has been in a few parties. We are not so sure about his ideology and stuff. How would you convince your voters?
Just like I tried to convince you in the last 1 hour. I can only talk to them, you know. And if they find a better candidate, you know, they will vote for that candidate. So, you know, I can only do, as I said, what I can do, which is to talk, to explain, to argue, to persuade, you know. But at the end of the day, if the people want somebody else, I lose.
But just to, but you have to reckon that the political reality is there are also some problems within the opposition sides, right? Pakatan, Harapan, whether it's a loose alliance and how is it going to move forward in the next general election. You don't care about all of this.
It's not that I don't care, but I don't want to talk too much about that, because if I talk, then somebody will probably say, who is he to talk about it? I'm not a leader of the opposition. So the less I talk about the opposition, the better. But I am in spirit and in whatever I do, I support them all the way. Yeah.
Okay, actually, we do have a few questions coming from you, our audience. Let's start with one of it. Do you think economy or religious issue are the main concern of Malay voters?
Economy number one.
So they feel the pinch of it as well, like any one of us.
Of course.
We can't apply for BRIM, so we thought maybe that would feel a little bit better.
Yeah. No, I think the economic issue is always a very important issue, and I think especially in this one.
Yeah, there are a few questions, and maybe I will just ask all of it. Okay, then another one from an audience, his name is Heng. Do you think all the institutions are controlled by UMNO? What can the opposition party do to break this control?
Okay. This is again, I just want to make sure that I do not get misunderstood or again. That people say, he cannot talk on behalf of the opposition. He's a nobody. So, but I will answer the question anyway. In my personal view, we have first make a distinction between party and government. The opposition must accept that fundamental rule. Because when you come to power and you think government and party are the same, this is what you get. So if you accept that government is different, party is different, then you make rules to make sure that government institutions are run professionally. Ministry of Education or Jabatan Pendidikan will be run by educationists, not UMNO or not party men being put there. You make sure that the police run professionally. You don't put somebody who protects the Prime Minister. When you appoint the Attorney General, you make sure that he's not a party person, but he's just a good lawyer and who got a strong sense of justice and who believes in public interest. So I believe the opposition will do things differently. To what extent, whether as much as I would like or whether as much as you would like, I don't know. But I think it's worth trying, the opposition, because we have to change this mindset, the system.
How would you think that money politics will change this whole thing that you're suggesting?
No, money politics is, let's put it this way, in every country, there will always be politicians who need money to promote their power and all that.
Yes.
But we can do something to control it, to regulate, to minimize it, And I think this is where institutions again count. If you have a very independent anti-corruption commission, if you have an independent police force, you have a press that's responsible and free. These are things that will make it more difficult for you to abuse your power. Because money politics is just abuse.
Yes.
So you cannot eliminate, of course. You cannot totally remove it in one blink of an eye. But if you believe that it's dangerous and it's harmful, then you set up institutions like this to make it less. To make leaders more scared of abusing their powers. So you need a free press, you need a good institutions like I've just described. I think that will help.
Okay. So another audience, Wai Han, actually, maybe you would have to help me to understand this question. Would it be a right decision to form another coalition, as it will have the same problem of exchanging political advantages?
No, we have to live in reality.
So there is always compromise
There
in
will always be
politics.
compromise in politics. But there are many types of compromise. If you compromise because you want to enrich yourself, that's another thing. If you want to compromise because you want to dominate one group against another, that's not acceptable. But if you compromise because that's the only way we can form an effective government, then you have to compromise. Because politics is always compromise, not just here, everywhere. So we cannot be skeptical just because we have seen Barisan National coalition not working.
Yes.
We cannot then say, oh, the other coalition were not working. This is where, as I said, the quality of our leaders, the people who we put up there, will determine to some extent how good or how bad this coalition will be. But if you are in agreement with core principles, then you can disagree and make compromise on other things, So I think that compromise is inevitable.
So if you look at the coalition, the opposition coalition that we have today, are they in agreement with the core principle?
Well, we don't have yet. We are trying to sort out past first. From what I have read, they may not be with the coalition. But when the Bersatu and Pakatan Harapan, I think they are already talking, I believe, but they haven't come to the seat area yet. But I think the core principles, I believe so. I believe that we have agreed that there's need to check and balance. The institution must be strong, independent, yes. And just because some of these people are from UMNO before, like Tun Mahathir, for example, people say, oh, I think he probably realized some of the errors of his time. Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. DAP, their goal is to pursue a Malaysia for all Malaysians. But Bersatu is a party that it's only open to Bumiputras.
So is MIC, or open to Indian.
Okay.
So is MCA.
Yeah, that's why. The
So
BN coalition. So
yeah,
most
but
of us
you
don't
cannot
think
judge
that
a
work.
coalition by the membership of a party. You can't, because the Dayak party in Sarawak also have Dayak. That's the reality of our country. It doesn't matter, like I said before in my book and my blog. No. Sometimes in politics, you think it's convenient to get everybody of your own ethnic group and community first, but you cannot. You must manage it well, because then if you don't, you become a racist party.
Yeah.
So you should not get into that. And I don't think Bersatu. Well, I hope, again, I'm not Bersatu, but I'm sure they will not be UMNO-like, There may be some traces of UMNO in them, but they have suffered themselves. So they should know from experience that you cannot have an UMNO model. So I believe that, in a new environment, when they are together with DAP and PKR and all that,
There will be influence.
Yes, of course. There will be some give and take. This is all politics about,
Very hopeful, Dato.
Yeah. I'm always hopeful. Yeah.
Okay, so now, next question. This audience, his name is Man Super. As you mentioned, you're a typical Malay. Could you please tell us what do Malay want?
Well, I believe I'm a typical Malay. Malays want good economic situation in the country. They want jobs.
Strong ringgit.
They want strong ringgit. They cannot have every petrol price increase every 3 months. So this is what Malays want. Malays want a job, good salary. Malays want to have if you live in a flat in Kampung Kerinci, or you live in a flat in Cheras, the flat's working, and you go to the hospital, you get medicine that you don't do, that work, that is effective. If you go to school, you don't have to contribute to the school to buy A4 paper like some of them have to do now. Malays want all that. Malays want all that, just like everybody else. They want a better life. Yeah.
So that's mutual.
Yeah.
Okay, then the next question. Sing Kang How can opposition convince the Malay that the non-Malays do not intend to challenge Malay rights? The non-Malays merely wanting the country to progress on the right path, to the right path.
Oh, the Malays. This issue has been going on for some time. I think it's not difficult to convince the Malays in the present climate, because what is making life difficult for them today is not the Chinese.
Okay.
So they now realize that giving Malay so-called rights on paper doesn't mean anything, because all it means is that UMNO leaders will benefit from it. So they know. So it's not difficult to tell them. It's not difficult to them that the Chinese have nothing to do with 1MDB. The Chinese have nothing to do with the price of petrol. The Chinese have nothing to do. Well, may not have the real source of the problem. May not be the source of the problem. I think it's not difficult, and more Malays see that now. Yes.
You think so?
Of course. That's why I'm confident.
Even with the Kelantanese, your Kelantanese?
Yes, of course. The Kelantanese are smart people.
But, they are with PAS.
Yeah, because they've been in prison.
In prison?
Yeah, in prison. By the ideology, by fear, by religious edicts, But they'll get out of it, of course. I believe that humanity is stronger than all these things. Yes.
Okay, enough about politics and Malays. Let's now talk about another very controversial issue when people talk about you. So you have been standing out and you have been very vocal speaking against RUU 355. And actually a lot of people might not be aware, it's not only now. I mean, even when it was Kelantan enactment in 1993.
20 years ago.
Yes.
20 years ago I already opposed this. People don't know.
Yes, people are. I mean, many are unaware because you withdrew the petition, right?
Yeah, because I was under pressure to withdraw.
We will talk about it. Okay. So, but why would you? Well, now you have joined DAP, like an anti-Malay, anti-Islam party, under the perception of many people, or what PAS or UMNO is trying to portray the APS. Do you think it's going to be harder for you to convince the Malay to subscribe to what you believe?
They have always said I am not. They said I was not Malay. Now they said I was too liberal for Malay. They already said all these things before. So what difference does it do whether I join the AP or
So you think it makes no difference?
No, because the issues are the same. The issues are the same. All I'm asking for the Malay is to think based on the facts, based on the, like RU or the law 355 that Hadi is proposing. You just look at it, and then you ask yourself the certain question, and then you decide whether it's good for the Malays or not.
But many people, many Muslim or Malay, they just refuse to even discuss about RUU 355.
Because they are in prison. This is my job. It's a job of the government, the enlightened leadership of the country to open up their minds. It's not about religion.
So you don't think it contravenes your personal belief by coming out and speaking against RUU?
No.
355?
It's not a religious matter.
Why? Why is it not religious?
Because it's not.
Can you explain?
Because punishment is just... Islam is not just about punishment. And you don't just quote me. There are a lot of Muslim scholars like Mufti of Perlis who agree with me. And there are people from Jakim, formerly who served Jakim as a consultant. Shahir, he came out and said, this 355 is nothing to do with Islam. So it's just that because I'm always in the news, people think that I'm not Malay enough or Muslim enough. But there are a lot of Muslim scholars who agree with me. But because they don't speak out as much or as often, so it looks like my view is like not representative of the Muslim community. No. RU 35 enables the Sharia court to send you to jail for longer periods and cane you for more caning.
Yes.
And we don't need it. Because if the Muslim community, if the Sharia court really wanted, they would have put a memorandum to the Conference of Rulers. None of the states did it. So it was just Hadi's idea because he wanted to get the issue for the election. Why is it that there is no memorandum? Why there is no representation from the Sharia court? We have Peguam Syari, the Muslim Lawyers Association. Did they make any representation that we wanted more punishment because of these cases? There are no facts adduced, no evidence adduced, nothing. And yet, Hadi said, oh, if you don't support, you're not Muslim. And then you get scared. These are people, this is the reaction of people who are in prison. They can't think. So I think, but it will take time, but I'm sure as more and more Muslim scholars and teachers speak out, now people are talking about it. And people say, if I talk about it, I will lose votes. I said, no.
But why are they more, why were there like huge purple sea during that rally at Padang Mebo as compared to the one that you attended, the anti-RUU 355? The numbers are so disappointing. It's very depressing.
Yeah, it's not depressing.
It's not?
It's not, because you must expect that if you have Azhar Idrus, who's a comedian, a very popular Muslim cleric, but a comedian, he speaks, he tells a lot of jokes. People like it. You can get 20,000 just with him alone. And then if you bring a well-known singer like Jama Abdullah, of course, they will come for free. And then if you bus them using UMNO-style buses to get you to Padang Mebo, why not? You have probably nasi bungkus as well. So it doesn't mean they understand the issue. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they are in a concert. So if you give me a free concert, of course you have 50,000 people.
So you think they go for the free concert?
Of course. They go for free concert, for entertainment. There'll be one or two fellas who try to make a big thing out of it. You see, all these people don't understand that. The Sharia court today, the Sharia court today are not even able to do their job efficiently from what powers they already have. Why don't we settle these things first? You see, a lot of women can relate to what I say because they know. Because they are the ones who have difficulty enforcing orders from the Sharia court. The husband just don't care. So there are women who wait for years to get a divorce. There are women who complain about maintenance. Why don't we solve this? This is the Islam way. We solve people's problem. Why don't Hadi, if he cares about the Muslim community, this is what he should do first. And then you prepare a memorandum to the rulers. You say that, we don't have enough power. That's why we cannot do this. But it's not about power. It's about getting votes, putting fear in the people. This is the party that is going to promise me heaven. So some people will vote for him on these reasons. I'm not saying all Muslims are like me, but I think the majority of the people, provided you explain things to them, you talk to them. I have been talking about this for the last 20 years. And so far,
yeah, I like to go back to your petition that was withdrawn like 20 years ago. Why did you do that? Because
I got instructions from the top to withdraw because it might affect the election. And I was an UMNO guy. And I felt that...
It was a call from Najib, right?
Well,
it's in your book.
Yeah. But Pala was the Prime Minister then. And I felt that as a party person, I cannot be too arrogant also. I can always file it.
But using this incident, you said that actually Hudud is not an UMNO agenda. But why is it today? It seems like it is the agenda.
Because Najib has got no other agenda. He got nothing else. So he has to be friendly with PAS. Because he's going to lose this election unless another Malay bloc supports him. So he is hoping that PAS will support him. And probably Hadi says, okay, I'll support you, but you give me 355. It's like So I think that's what happened.
Actually, many among the non-Muslim community, we are pretty indifferent about this 355. What is your advice for them, those who are indifferent about it?
If you are indifferent about this, you are indifferent about important issues in the country, then you cannot make Malaysia great.
Because Hadi and all the lots are telling us that it's not going to affect us.
Yeah. That does affect you. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time.
How would it affect us?
Well, how? Of course, you are assured, you think, because the Constitution today protects you, because we make a distinction between personal law and general law.
Yes.
But that separation only exists in a democracy. When the ulamas rule this country, they will say there's no such difference. Because in Islam, there is no personal law, general law. There's only one law. So if you are not interested in maintaining the separation, I'm sorry for you, because you're going to get it one day. Where they hold power, they say this personal law, general law distinction is Western, secular. We will abandon that. Now we are all subject to one law. And then it will be too late for you to cry. So the Chinese community must see beyond just 2018, you know. They must see when their grandchildren live in this country, or when their great-grandchildren live in this country. They want to maintain this democracy. They want to maintain this system, the legal system that we have. If they want that, they have to get involved.
Now we're talking about future, right?
Of course.
So, to this very day, we are not very sure about the stance of PKR, Bersatu, or even Amanah on RUU 355. What is your take on this? Why are they not making a stance?
Well, I think some of them have already spoken. I mean, Tun Mahathir has spoken about it. He says, no, this is Hadi's political move. So he has spoken. Okay, some may think that if they speak, they might lose votes. So they rather...
PKR said they needed a brief from Hadi to say what this bill is all about.
Yeah. So it's okay, because Hadi is not going to give them a briefing. So sometimes politicians make statements that allows them a bit of time to say something. You know, when you are dealing with sensitive issues, of course, some are not everybody is very candid like me. That's why they are better politicians, because they take their time. I am a bit more open, to me, But just because the style is different doesn't mean they don't agree with us,
Will you openly call for them to join you in opposing RUU 355?
Of course, I urge them that, if you love this country, it doesn't matter whether you're Chinese, Malay, Christian, Catholic, or Hindu, you must oppose 355. You cannot allow clerics to decide the law of this country. This country must be governed by the people of this country. Basic principle, the Chinese cannot say, oh, there's nothing to do with this. Nothing happens in this country that has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah. All right. You have mentioned that there's a tide of Talibanization in Malaysia. Can you elaborate on this?
The Taliban thinking, when I say Talibanization, is the thinking. The thinking is like, oh, if you punish people, we punish people if we have unwanted pregnancies. If unwanted pregnancies is on the rise, if we send a woman to 30 years jail or 10 years jail, maybe we'll have less, which is rubbish. That's not the way we solve societal problems. But this is Taliban's way of solving it. People steal, we chop off their hands. That's not the way to do it. Sometimes people steal because they have no money, or there are other circumstances. And sometimes the punishment that we have in the civil court, more than enough. So why you want to change anything? So this is what I mean by Talibanization, this quick fix solution. You see, these are people who betray Islam, really, because Islam is about something else. It's about understanding. It's about compassion, forgiveness, mercy. In Islam, mercy is very important. That's why during Prophet's time, there was no punishment like this. People forget that. He lives in the 7th century, Saudi Arabia. They do a lot of nasty things. They kill the daughters, at that time. So the Prophet himself tried very hard. He doesn't impose any punishment at all. It's more advice. And that's the Sharia that we... But these people, the Malays or the Muslims in this country, never get that sort of teaching because they have been trained by Saudis, Saudis trained ulama, Jakim and all that, And sometimes it's politics. Sometimes you think they are doing it for religious reasons, but it's politics, it's control.
How do you think we can stop this tide?
you make sure I win.
But you said you can't single-handedly stop anything.
No.
You can't guarantee anything.
A step at a time. You got to. I mean, I'm talking about not just me. I'm talking about leaders who are more open, leaders who are more pragmatic and practical leaders. You must be elected. You cannot say I don't want to get involved. You got to work hard to get the right people out. Because power in this country, that's the only system we have, which is not a bad system, but it's been abused. If we put the right people in parliament, we have the right laws. We put the right prime minister, we have the right system, right government,
Okay. Now let's move on to the future of Malaysia. And I'm going to ask you this because you used to be a law minister. So many of us are very frustrated about our inability to bring the culprit behind 1MDB scandal to justice. You have raised the idea of public prosecutor office. Can you explain this idea?
Public prosecutor's office is very simple. You see, the Attorney General is actually, he has two main functions. One is Prime Minister's advisor on legal affairs, and public prosecutor. He prosecutes the powers under Article 145. But in this country, for so many years, but particularly the last one, the Attorney General seems to be more interested in protecting the Prime Minister than being a public officer of the people. So, in other words, it's open to abuse. So we have to split it. Split it in the sense that we have, by statute, we pass a law, we create an office of public prosecutor, someone that's different from the Attorney General.
So he can prosecute even when the executive say no, or even when...
Yes, because he's independent public prosecutor. We can advertise it. In England, they advertise for this office. So we can do the same. The best criminal lawyer in the land, or the best lawyer, can apply to be the public prosecutor.
Well, again, it's a very hopeful suggestion. When you were the law minister, you tried to do a lot of things. The IPCMC is not here yet.
Yeah, but you must have hope. You see, I had difficulties doing all those things because at that time, But now, 10 years later, maybe we can. Or even if we can't do everything, if we can do half of what we want to do, I think that's progress. But you must believe that things are possible. If you feel that, there's nothing will make any difference, then we lose the fight already.
I know what your answer is going to be for my next question, but I ask it on everyone who come to this show. Many young Malaysians, Chinese, Indians, or even Malays, are trying to leave Malaysia. What do you have to say to those who are planning to leave us? Should we continue to be hopeful?
Yes, of course. It's a wonderful country. You can go anywhere in the world. You can live in New York or London. I suppose if you have a lot of money, maybe...
Which many of us don't.
Yeah. So, or you can live in Sweden and pay 20 ringgit, 30 ringgit for a cup of coffee. It's up to you. But this is a wonderful country. These are wonderful people, The people of this country, Malay, Chinese, Indian, we can live together. We can make a great country out of this. But we mustn't give up. If everybody leaves, if people with money and brains leave, we're going to have riffraff left behind. So, no. The situation is, we are not going to be like Syria and all that. No.
You don't think we're going to be like Syria?
No, provided the opposition wins.
You just...
So, no, we have hope. I believe that, I'm not young, but I worry about my grandchildren too.
Yes.
I don't think...
Are they in Malaysia, your grandchildren?
Yeah, they're all in Malaysia. As I said, I don't have money to send them overseas. They live here, They live in Malaysia. My children don't live in Malaysia. We don't have anything overseas, People don't know about all these things, but I don't. But to me, this is the country. And I think it's fortunate that I can do something, and I think a lot more people should have that attitude, and then see how it goes. Yeah.
I guess it's a good place that a good note to stop for this very hopeful conversation tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato', for coming. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
我们这个荧幕前的观众朋友，非常感谢今晚收看我们的 On the Hot Seat。 请期待下一次我们将带来更多更精彩的谈论。晚安。